miles away. He should be here soon. Half an hour passed before motion flickered in the distant tunnel. A group of 10 men climbed out onto the ground, then turned and helped up as many dwarves. One of the men, Eragon assumed it was Ajihad, raised a hand, and the warriors assembled behind him in 2 straight lines. At a signal, the formation marched proudly toward Trondheim. Before they went more than 5 yards, the tunnel behind them swarmed with a flurry of activity as more figures jumped out. Eragon squinted, unable to see clearly from so far away. "Those are Urgles!" exclaimed Saphira. Eragon did not question her, but leaped onto her back, berating himself for leaving his sword, Zarok, in his room. No one had expected an attack now that the Urgle army had been driven away. Saphira lifted her azure wings, gaining speed and altitude each second. Below them, Arya ran toward the tunnel, nearly keeping a pace with Saphira. Auric trailed her with several men, while Jormungandr sprinted back toward the barracks. The monsters had the advantage of surprise and quickly cut down 4 men, forcing the rest of the warriors, men and dwarves alike, to cluster around Ajihad in an attempt to protect him. For a minute, it seemed the defenders would be able to resist the Urgles, but then a swirl of motion disturbed the air, like a faint band of mist wrapping itself around the combatants. When it cleared, only 4 warriors were standing: Ajihad, the twins, and Murtagh. The Urgles converged on them, blocking Eragon's view, as he stared with rising horror and fear. "No, no, no!" Before Saphira could reach the fight, the knot of Urgles streamed back to the tunnel and scrambled underground, leaving only prone forms behind. The moment Saphira touched down, Eragon vaulted off, then faltered, overcome by grief and anger. In the center of the massacre lay Ajihad, his breastplate rent with numerous gashes, surrounded by 5 Urgles he had slain. His breath still came in ragged gasps. Eragon knelt by him and lowered his face so his tears would not land on the leader's ruined chest. No one could heal such wounds. Running up to them, Arya paused and stopped, her face transformed with sorrow when she saw that Ajihad could not be saved.
"Eragon."
The name slipped from Ajihad's lips, no more than a whisper. "Yes, I'm here."
"Listen to me, Eragon. I have one last command for you."
Eragon leaned closer to catch the dying man's words.
"You must promise me that you won't let the Varden fall into chaos. They are the only hope for resisting the Empire. They must be kept strong. You must promise me."
I promise."
"Then peace be with you, Eragon Shadeslayer."
With his last breath, Ajihad closed his eyes, setting his noble face in repose, and died. Arya blessed Ajihad in a ripple of the ancient language, then said, "Alas, his death will cause much strife. He is right. You must do all you can to avert a struggle for power. I will assist where possible." Saphira swung her head around. "Where are the twins and Murtagh? They're not among the dead." Eragon scanned the corpses. Elation surged within him as he hurried to the tunnel's mouth. "You're right. The Urgles must have taken them. But why? They don't keep prisoners or hostages." Despair instantly returned. "It doesn't matter. We can't pursue them without reinforcements. You wouldn't even fit through the opening." "They may still be alive. Would you abandon them?" Saphira asked. "I couldn't catch Urgles on foot, though Arya might be able to." "Then ask her to." "Arya?" Eragon hesitated, torn between his desire for action and his loathing to put her in danger. Still, if any one person in the Varden could handle the Urgles, it was she. He explained what they had found. Arya's slanted eyebrows met in a frown. "It makes no sense. Will you pursue them?" "We are on no." "For you." Then she bounded forward, sword flashing in her hand, as she dove into the earth's belly. Eragon roused himself and rolled to the edge of the bed, looking about the room, which was suffused with the dim glow of a shuttered lantern. Because Isidar Mithram, the great star sapphire, had been shattered by Arya during the Battle of Farthendur, Eragon and Saphira had been unable to remain in the dragonhold above it. The dwarves had given them quarters in an old guardroom on Trondheim's bottom level. Anguish gripped Eragon as he remembered the events of the previous day. Tears filled his eyes, and one fell on his hand. They had heard nothing from Arya until late that evening, when she emerged from the tunnel, weary and footsore. Despite all her magic, the Urgles had escaped her. "I found these," she said. Then she revealed one of the twins' purple robes, torn and bloodied, and Murtagh's tunic, and both his leather gauntlets. "They were strewn along the edge of a black chasm, the bottom of which no tunnel reaches. The Urgles must have stolen their armor and weapons, and thrown the bodies into the pit. I scried both Murtagh and the twins, and saw naught but the shadow of the abyss." Her eyes met Eragon's. "I'm sorry, they are gone." Now, in the confines of his mind, Eragon mourned Murtagh. It was a dreadful, creeping feeling of loss and horror, made worse by the fact that he had grown ever more familiar with it in past months. As he stared at the tear in his hand, he decided to scry the three men himself. He whispered, "Dromer Coppa." Darkness enveloped the liquid, turning it into a small dot of night on his silver palm. Movement flickered through it, like the swish of a bird across a clouded moon. Then, nothing. Saphira's breathing quickened, and she opened her eyes, yawning expansively. "Good morning, little one." "Is it?" He looked down and leaned on his hands, compressing the mattress. "It's terrible. Murtagh and Ajihad. Why didn't the sentries in the tunnels warn us of the Urgles? They shouldn't have been able to trail Ajihad's group without being noticed." "Arya was right. It doesn't make sense." "We may never know the truth," said Saphira gently. She stood, wings brushing the ceiling. "You need to eat. Then we must discover what the Varden are planning. We can't waste time. A new leader could be chosen within hours." Eragon rose and strapped on Zarak and his bow. A line of pain sheared through his torso, driving him to the floor, where he writhed, scrabbling at the scar on his back. Saphira tried to soothe him with her own mind, but was unable to alleviate his suffering. It took minutes before the fit subsided, and the last throb faded away, leaving Eragon gasping. "It was worse this time," he said, staggering upright. Saphira let him lean against her as he wiped off the sweat with a rag. Then together they made their way through Trondheim, toward the nearest kitchen. In the corridors and hallways, people stopped and bowed to them, murmuring, "Arjatlam," or "Shadeslayer." In the kitchen, Eragon brought a stone platter of food to a low table. Saphira watched him carefully, in case he should have another attack. Several people tried to approach him, but she lifted a lip and growled, sending them scurrying away. Eragon picked at his food and pretended to ignore the disturbances. Finally, trying to divert his thoughts from Murtagh, he asked, "Who do you think has the means to take control of the Varden, now that Ajihad and the twins are gone?" She hesitated. "It's possible you could, if Ajihad's last words were interpreted as a blessing to secure the leadership. Almost no one would oppose you. However, that does not seem a wise path to take. I see only trouble in that direction." For a long time they both considered the issues facing them. Then Saphira said, "Eragon, there is someone here to see you. I can't scare him away." A pale-looking youth stood by the table. "What is it?" asked Eragon, not unkindly. The boy started, flustered, then bowed. "You have been summoned, Arjalam, to speak before the Council of Elders." "Who are they?" The question confused the boy even more. The council is, our people, that is the Varden, choose to speak on our behalf to Ajihad. They were his trusted advisors." "Are you to lead me to them?" "Yes, I am." Saphira looked at Eragon questioningly. He shrugged and left the uneaten food, motioning for the boy to show the way. As they walked, Eragon asked, "What are you called?" "Jarsha, sir." "That's a good name. You carried your message well. You should